I expected this to be the hardest day of my life. I expected it to be the most painful. Woke up my partner at 3:30 and I was like things are happening. He jumped out of bed. He's like, do I need to pack my bag? And I'm like, should have been packed, but sure, pack it now. These midwives are
I noticed
godsends. I just wish they had more recognition.
Well, that's why we're talking about it today.
You're not the first and the last woman to do this.
Yeah.
And while you're giving birth, like 350,000 other women are giving birth. So you're not alone. This is Skin Talks, the podcast where we go deeper than skin, products, and trends and explore the conversations that actually matter in health, beauty, wellness, and confidence.
We're a mother-daughter duo and the founders of Boutique Skin Envie. After years inside the industry, we've learned that health is never just about what you use. It's about everything you digest, how you think, how you live, what you eat, how you move, what you put on your skin, and how you feel in your own body.
If you're looking for insight, honesty, and a fresh perspective on the future of health, beauty, and wellness, you're in the right place.
Let's get into it.
Skin Talks podcast by Boutique Skin Envie, hosted by Beate and Natascha.
Alrighty, welcome back to our solo episodes. Today is a special one because we have a special guest, my 2-week-old son, Maximilian. And today's episode, we are going to be talking about my birth story.
Yes, very interesting.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous to talk about it. I don't think I've talked about it that often with people because it's so new. But yeah, no, I'm very excited at the same time.
So am I.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very exciting. So let's start off. I'll just start with the first question, which is, I think, probably for a lot of people an obvious one. Why did you choose to have Maximilian at a birthing center and have a natural childbirth?
So I had Maximilian at the Maison de Naissance. It's on Côte-des-Neiges, and I, for about 10 years, have always wanted to do natural birth. I saw this one girl, I was like on Instagram, it must have been 10 years ago, talk about her experience. She did an at-home birth. And the way she wrote about her experience was like so captivating for me. And I just fell in love with her story. And I said, I want to do it exactly like that. At home wasn't necessarily didn't need to be like a prerequisite. I just wanted to really have a natural childbirth.
But what was it about her story that made you want to do that?
Just I remember her talking about how she was always she was a supermodel. Or she's a supermodel. And I think I can't remember exactly who it was. It could be like Elsa or something. I forget her last name. Anyways. And she's she always looked a certain way and always acted a certain way and was very ladylike and all this stuff. And then when she gave birth, she kind of just let everything go. And it's the way that she described letting go and embracing this part of her that was not so woman and fancy and dainty.
Perfect.
It was imperfect. It was more of just really honing into womanhood and just surrendering to everything that she ever really was and just letting her body do what she had to do. And I found that to be really interesting. And I just loved her story. And obviously I've known that in our family, there's a lot of, both of my aunts have had natural childbirth, and I've also experienced through them their displeasure of going to the hospital and how things were done. So I kind of already had a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth from experiences through friends and family members about their experiences. And I just didn't want to have that same experience. I wanted to really embrace womanhood and do it my way. And that's basically what I just did.
Okay, and that's very brave because, every time I was with you, people obviously could see that you were expecting.
Yeah.
But they would be like, oh, don't worry about it, Tash. Just when you get to the hospital, as soon as it becomes a little uncomfortable, just have an epidural and everything's going to be fine. And then you would say to them, well, I've chosen to have my baby at a birthing center. And without that, and you could see the blood almost draining from people would be ghostly white and kind of why would you do that?
Yeah. Which I don't think that I deserve some sort of medal of honor for doing a natural childbirth. I want to make that very clear. Anyone who goes through childbirth, epidural, C-section, whatever it is, deserves a medal like for doing that,
Yeah,
because giving
absolutely.
birth, regardless
Of how you do
of
it.
how you do it, is the most monumental time in your life. And it's regardless of what your body goes, like your body is going through something, no matter what it is, whether it's surgery or whether it's whatever, VBAC or anything that you're doing, like you're going through something monumental.
Life
And just
changing.
because I didn't have an epidural or anything like that doesn't make me like more special.
No, I know. It's unusual.
Yes, it was definitely unusual. Like the first thing everybody says is like, just get the epidural when you get to the hospital. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And one woman at a wedding once said that I should be like in the Douglas. It's just, I'm a walking crazy person. And I was like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And nothing, what I found amazing is because I was present for a lot of those moments that you had with people, you know, at the Medi Spa or like just socially. And people like, you had so many people that were kind of in a way bewildered. They just looked at you kind of like sideways, like, you know, why would she do that? You know?
Yeah.
And I noticed that you never swayed.
No.
Not even for a second did you sway.
No. And like, I might think that like I'm very headstrong and like it's something I really wanted to do, but also like I would really just never want to get an epidural. Like I've seen the needles.
Yeah, I know.
You know, like everyone's like, oh, it's not that bad. No, to some people it's pretty bad. And that needles terrifies me. So I could base it off of the fear of needles, or like I was just also really headstrong. It's just something that I wanted to do. And then I think once you're in that mindset, and like I originally went through the medical system at the beginning, like for my 8 weeks when I got
just to like have options, right?
just to get, yeah, exactly. And then when I got assigned a midwife, I had my first appointment with my midwife, and my boyfriend was very much never heard of a midwife before. I didn't even know these things existed. And he was very much,
and he's a doctor, a dentist,
yeah, he's a
right?
dentist. So he's always just known what's going on in the hospitals and the medical system and all, like that, just one-dimensional view. And once he had the appointment with me, the first 1 hour appointment with the midwife, he was like, oh, like it was an appointment that was, an appointment that basically was like, do you want to do this? Do you want to go with the midwife or do you want to go to the hospital? And then he was like, no, I think we should do the midwife, like in the appointment. So the way that she made us feel, but also how she made him feel.
Yeah.
And he immediately was like, oh no, this is like a much better route. Not him not knowing exactly what was going to happen in the birthing room, but he knew it was a better route because you really sit with a woman for 1 hour and they're so attentive. They answer all of your questions. You can talk about anything birth. You can talk about like your personal, you can talk about anything, and they'll sit there for 1 hour with you every 6 weeks in the beginning. And then more frequently as you go through your pregnancy. But like, it's just really, they listen to you, they talk to you, they advise you of everything you need to do. They allow you to make your own choices. Nothing is pressured on you. They tell you pros and cons of everything. So everything that we did or didn't do throughout our pregnancy was our choice. They obviously like pushed, they were like, yes, we believe you should have vaccines because of blah, 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 blah. But if you don't, this is like blah, 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 blah. So they
presented to you a very open way.
And they would give you some pros and cons. And so that was really nice. It was nothing that was like pressuring us to do anything, which I also don't love about the hospital from my experience through people. It's like, there's always like, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. And like, I wanted to make the choice and do my research and talk to my partner and be like, what's best for us? And so, yeah, that's basically like the beginning of the journey.
But I have to say, like, as your mom, I noticed that you did that for everything in your pregnancy. For example, you chose natural childbirth in a birthing center. You didn't want to know if it was a boy or a girl.
Yeah.
And you didn't share names.
No.
So like you completely wanted everything to be
only between me and my partner.
And also like to be surprised also.
Yeah.
Which is unusual also because I find in today's world, and not to knock it.
Yeah, I mean,
people like to be prepared and they like to know, okay, we're going to paint the room pink, we're going to paint the room blue, all the clothing.
Yeah,
even the baby shower, you didn't have a baby shower. You had a family get together, introducing both sides of the families to each other in a way that was really beautiful and very, very intimate. Where
very non-traditional.
Yeah, and I remember talking about the baby shower and. There's kind of this expectation that you're going to do this gender reveal and that, all these things that we see on social media today that is shared to the world. You started, like we actually had a dinner to discuss your baby shower. And then you came back like a week or two later and said, well, this doesn't align with my values. I don't want to get together with 50 people, spend a ton of money in a restaurant, and just for people to buy me gifts that I probably don't need, half of them.
Yeah.
Like you hardly made a registry.
Yeah. I also wasn't somebody who wanted like all the knickknacks either. And like all the stuff that I mean, granted, I have very nice gear and like, I'm very grateful for the things that I have. Like I do have top tier things, but everything that I have, like the bassinet, all these things, it's very neutral. And like, I don't have all the gadgets that like bounce the baby and do all these things, because I just wanted everything to be very like normal and like
not overdone.
Yeah. Just very like basic, like I don't know. I find it like all the brands that that I have are like really like North European brands from like Norway, and like, you know, they do it differently there. And I like love how they do it.
Yeah. It's
like
not
wooden toys.
It's you weren't consumerized, let's say, around your pregnancy.
And you don't like, there's nothing that I have that I haven't used yet.
Yeah.
You know,
which is,
and I don't really need anything. And I knew that I wouldn't need stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, my mindset around pregnancy and like birth is very non-traditional for sure.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, as your mom, like I mean, a whole new level of respect for you that grew because of watching you go through this entire experience in all aspects of becoming a mother. Every choice that you made was like, oh, wow. Like just one step of respect higher than the next kind of thing. It's hard to describe because you didn't do things like anybody else. You did it your way, and you weren't pressured by anything in your social circles or things that people that you know, friends, family have done in the past. You really made all your own choices together with Joey.
Yeah.
Bringing your baby into the world, you know?
Yeah, definitely did things our way. And I was in the beginning a little bit nervous, especially with Joey, that like he was going to want me to be in a hospital and he's not going to trust the birthing center and all these things. But once he saw what it was like, once he saw also that there was equipment, people like when you go to the birthing center, like there's equipment for babies, like there's respiratory machines, there's all these things. If something, God forbid, goes wrong with a baby, you know, that they can handle.
And it was within a block from the Montreal Jewish, right?
Yes.
So like,
yes,
if something would have happened, they're set up for, I remember when I got there's an emergency exit entrance for ambulances should there be a.
Yeah. And also there's, and they have all the like resuscitatory machines. They have all the machines that one would need.
But without the clinical setting.
But it's not in the room when you're giving birth.
And it's not a clinical setting.
No, it's very much like
it's like an old house.
Witchy house.
Yeah. Very basic, very nothing fancy, no bright lights. Everything is very subdued and everything is very normal, like being at home.
Yeah. Like
that's
very
the energy
much like,
that I found.
Like very cozy, wooden, homey vibes, whereas like not bright lights, like no bright lights, no noises, no beeping things. Like
you gave birth in a double bed or a queen size bed?
Yeah, it was a double bed.
A double bed. So like it's just totally different than what you would normally see.
Yeah. Very different.
Yeah.
And I like that, like the calming aspect of it. Like that's part of like let's say, for example, like when you go to the hospital, everybody talks about birth plans and like how women want things to go, like their preferences. Everything that this birthing center or the birthing center experience gave me was a part of like that they automatically do as a part of my birthing plan. So I didn't have a birth plan because everything that they did was what I wanted. So it was like, I just walked in there. I didn't have a piece of paper being like, this is how I want it to go, you know? Whereas if it was in a hospital, I would have to like do that.
Mm-hmm. Is he falling asleep?
We're not sure.
Well, I have to say you're like a natural at being a mommy, which is really nice to see also for me.
We're definitely fussy.
Okay. So we talked about the reasons why you chose. And one thing I wanted to ask you was, let's say, for example, when they prepared you and you met your midwife and you did all of this stuff, was there anything that they told you that would have prevented them from allowing you to give birth in a birthing center?
Yes. Like, if they had any sort of complications, I actually had a slight complication in the beginning of my pregnancy. I have a bicorneous uterus, which basically means I have a heart-shaped uterus.
A heart.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like uteruses are shaped as pears, and I have a little divot in the middle of mine. So
which
it
is a
creates
muscle, right?
tissue, and it creates two, like
It separates the middle.
It could separate down like there's different severities of a heart-shaped uterus. The tissue can go all the way down. Then you have two like sections of your uterus, which could be dangerous and cause for a preemie baby or a breech baby.
Because it doesn't have room to move. Because it doesn't
have room to grow. Or to go to the other side. And that they put me as like a high-risk pregnancy in the beginning, until they checked that until they saw that the baby was growing exponentially, the baby was moving from both sides.
Yeah, it wasn't separating.
Yeah, so the baby was able to push away the tissue in a way and like make my uterus grow, where that could have been an issue. And that would have not allowed me to give birth in the birthing center.
What about if the baby was breech?
They would have a conversation with me, and there's hospitals that birth breech babies. There's like one hospital that specializes in it, and a doctor that specializes in it. And they would be like, if you want to go there, you can give birth to a breech baby. It's like a specialized area. Okay. I can't remember what it is or who it is or what the hospital is, but there's like, that's the option. Or they would, if I was like deemed to have a C-section, obviously they couldn't.
The baby was too big?
I actually asked that, and the baby was too big, it wouldn't be an issue. They would still birth me at home or in the birthing center. And if you have gestational diabetes, if you're like anything that's like sort of high risk, risky, they would talk to you about the options, and you could birth in a hospital with a birthing with a midwife. Yeah,
so I was going to ask that. If you, let's say, for example, that you were assigned a midwife, and you were forced because of circumstances or risks.
Depending on where I am in my pregnancy, I might be transferred completely to a nurse, or to a doctor in the hospital.
And depending on the situation.
But if I'm like 38 weeks, like the midwife will birth me at the hospital. Okay. But if I was like 20 something, that would be transferred. And
that makes sense. That makes sense. Cause then it's like life-threatening situation for the baby, right? Okay. So now we understand why and some of the more information. What did you do to prepare for natural childbirth?
I mean, I visualized a lot how I was going to give birth, and it wasn't how I gave birth at all.
I think everybody has that kind of experience.
I visualized a lot of how I was going to be positioned in my birth, and kind of I saw myself in the bathtub. Like, I visualized a lot. I expected this to be the hardest day of my life. I expected it to be the most painful experience of my life. I honestly kind of just,
Did you like look at videos?
Yeah, I watched natural childbirth videos.
On YouTube?
Always have, though.
YouTube kind of thing?
Yeah, and there's stuff on Instagram too.
Okay.
Like, I've watched it since I read that Instagram post. Like, I've always informed myself of that kind of stuff, and I just loved watching it. I find it very empowering. And so I watched videos, so I kind of understood the concept. I obviously asked so many questions to my midwife, like, how does it work? Like, how does the uterus work? So that I can understand the progress of
the different stages.
Yeah, like, what does early labor look like to active labor to transition to pushing? Like, what does that look like in the body? So I understood what my body was doing.
So what does that look like? Like, how did they present it to you?
Well, so early labor is like you're getting contractions, but it's irregular.
And so I remember every 6 to 8 minutes, 30, 40 seconds kind of thing.
Yeah, it can be 30, 40 seconds. So every 8 minutes, it lasts 30 minutes, and it can stop for a day. You could just be like 30 minutes of labor, early labor, but you're in early labor, and then you have no
body's
contractions.
Starting to dilate.
Yeah. So basically, like, you're just very irregular cramping. And it could last multiple days.
So you didn't have that. You had basically 12 hours of...
I had 12 hours of early labor, yeah.
So what was that like for you? Like, was it like excruciating or just kind of annoying, or?
Well, for me, it was more annoying. Everybody's talked about Braxton Hicks, and then I was like, when am I going to feel Like, what is it going to feel like? And I was anticipating the pain, and I was like trying to figure out what it was. But I remember waking up at 3:00 on January 4th and 3:00 in the morning and having gone to bed at midnight, which was such a mistake. I should have gone to bed earlier now in retrospect, because I only got 3 hours of sleep. But I remember waking up and being like, ooh, like this feels different. It kind of felt like I had to go to the bathroom plus period cramps. Like it was like a weird mix. And I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of uncomfortable. And then as I was like still waking up from my sleep, I realized that it was happening again and again. So I pulled my phone out and started timing myself. And I was getting them for 1 minute, like every 8 minutes, sometimes every 5, then every 6, then every 8, then every like, it was like 10.
Well, you texted me at 3:00 in the morning.
I said, I think
3:30 in the morning, and you told me that. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. And I woke up my partner at 3:30, and I was like things are happening. He jumped out of bed. He's like, do I need to pack my bag? And I'm like, should have been packed, but sure, pack it now. And he's like, oh my God, like, is your stuff packed? I'm like, yeah, it's packed. So he kind of was like going a little, like he was excited.
Ape shit, kind of.
But then we called the midwife, and she basically said, you have to be within your 411 or your 511.
Which is, explain that.
It's basically like you get a contraction for 1 minute every 4 to 5 minutes for 1 hour. And if you don't have that, you're not in active labor.
Yeah. So I remember we FaceTimed at like 7:30 in the morning for about an hour or 90 minutes. And I watched you go through some contractions. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to leave you. You got off the phone. I was very happy that you, because I had said to myself at 3:30 in the morning, oh my God, like same kind of feeling, that Joey had, like, did you pack your bags? I'm like, okay, what's happening? Is it now? Is it later?
I was like, what am I going to the birthing center now? Like, what am I doing? I was very confused.
It's a confusing moment. And I think for everybody that's involved in family situations. So I decided to try to get some sleep because I thought it was going to be a long day, and so I'll try and rest a little bit now. And when I got up, obviously like at 6 or whatever, I slept for maybe an hour or two. And then you FaceTimed me at 7:30, and I think till about 8:30, 9 o'clock, we were on together.
Yeah.
And I watched you go through it. Like I watched you go through the different contractions and stuff like that. And, obviously uncomfortable, but not crazy, right?
No.
I remember texting you.
I can talk.
Yeah, you could talk, and you just like would stop and like rock on the ball that you had, and like I think you were on all fours and kind of like letting your stomach hang instead of lying or sitting. And then also sitting on the ball, and you would move the ball around in circles. Yeah. So you were like opening up your pelvis in a way and like trying to get things moving. But I think I once we got off the phone, I was like, okay, I'm going to leave you be, and I'm going to like have to distract myself for the next little while, because obviously it creates anxiety, right? Because you're excited and nervous at the same time. And then I guess I texted you around 3:00 or 3:30, and you said, or you texted me and said, I'm taking a bath now. And I said, well, how are you feeling? And you said, you swore, and like, I'm super effing annoyed, or like, and I was like, well, why? And he said, nothing's changing, nothing's progressing. And I said, well, be careful, because that can switch very fast.
Yeah. So basically what happened was that at 3:30, Joey called my midwife, and she said, get in the bath. And usually a bath indicates that it's going to slow down your labor or it's going to speed it up. And so I went into the bath, and it was just so nice. Like at 3:30 in the morning, taking a bath was like euphoric. I took a lot of baths during my pregnancy.
Yeah.
And it slowed my contractions.
But it was 3:30 in the afternoon. You were 12 hours after.
No, that was I did a bath at 3:30 in the morning.
Okay, but I'm talking about like 3:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah,
you took a bath.
I know.
Okay.
But then so basically she just said, you can't do anything, take a bath and try to get some rest.
Okay.
Because she was like, if you try to activate your labor more, it might still take a long time. You're going to have zero energy later on. Like,
and you did rest.
I did. So I went back to bed after my bath and was like, obviously waking up every 8 minutes to 10 minutes with a contraction, but then would fall back asleep. Like I was exhausted. I woke up at around 7:30ish.
Yeah. When you FaceTimed.
That's when I went downstairs and I was okay. Like I'm over this, like lying in bed. Also lying on my side was very painful for me. Like that's when I really didn't enjoy my contractions, like throughout the entire process. I really hated being on my side.
Okay.
And so I went downstairs, and that's when I went on the ball, called you. And then, the day went on. I called my midwife again, and I was like, okay, she called us, and I said, nothing's progressing. And she said,
take a bath again.
Take another bath. And this is that was after. She said, okay, just continue to rest. So I lied on the couch all day like just going through contractions for 12 hours. Like there was nothing I could do. I didn't want to go for a walk and activate it. I didn't want to go up and down the stairs and activate it because she said, don't exhaust your body, because I told her I was really tired because I only had slept 3 hours. So she's like, really don't do anything.
Yeah. And it's
And
wise advice.
Yes, wise advice. But I do think that if I did have slept better and I was feeling okay, I could have activated it earlier, and I could have maybe made my my early labor shorter.
Okay. Interesting.
It's possible, but who knows? We will never know. And then 3:30 was hitting, and I had one contraction. We called the midwife again. I had one contraction, which made me so nauseous. I was like trying to swallow my saliva, talking to my midwife, trying not to throw up. And I was like, okay, something just shifted.
Yeah. I remember telling you it can go very quick.
Yeah. So I had one contraction and it completely shifted everything. And then I went and then that's when my partner started timing me, and he was like, oh, you're having a contraction every 3 minutes for 1 minute. So she was like, go in the bath. If it accelerates it, then we're going to go to the birthing center. If it slows it down, then you're going to stay at home. And I went into the bath, and it increased my contractions. So I was having a contraction like every 3.5 minutes for a minute. So then, we made our way. I got to the birthing center at 6 p.m., 5:45, 6 p.m. And by the time that I had gotten there, it really spiked. The contractions had spiked. It was no longer, I was very nauseous during all of my contractions. I felt like I was going to be sick the whole time. And I was like, I need a bucket. And then eventually I did throw up. She was like, that's perfect. That's normal. You're making space. So she's like, a lot of women will throw up because you need space in your body, I guess. Like, I'm like, okay, whatever that means. Like, sure. And then that's when the journey really started. That's where things really picked up. And I was like, oh, like this is intense.
Yeah.
Definitely like early labor contractions were very bearable in retrospect to active labor contractions.
And how long did you think you were in active labor for?
I had no concept of time, but I was definitely in active labor for 4 hours.
And during that time at the birthing center, did you go in the bath?
I went in the bath, which was amazing.
They had a bath right in your bedroom, which I thought was so cool.
Yeah, they have 4 rooms there. All of them are very different. You can choose which one is your priority. I chose that one. I was lucky enough to get it. There was no other woman laboring at that time. Thank goodness. So I got the one with the bath because I really enjoyed baths. And the bath was nice.
Did it help ease pain?
To a certain extent, yes. And then my situation was that I was having a lot of back labor. And when I was sitting in the back labor was
worse.
Excruciating. Yeah. Like so bad. To the point where like you see a lot of women in labor, if you watch videos, like a lot of them are moving.
Yeah.
You see a lot of women moving around, moving their hips. Like, I couldn't even move. I was like frozen in my spot because my back was hurting so much.
Okay.
And I was like, one thing I was terrified of labor was back labor, and I have it.
Because you have a sore back anyways on any.
It's because how he was positioned.
Yeah.
So most babies their back is on your belly, and they come their head facing down.
He was
their
the
face
opposite.
facing down.
Yeah.
He was the opposite, which we'll get into, which is why I was having back labor. That for me is the most painful thing. Like that is something I don't ever want to experience. It felt like my back was seizing, freezing, falling off, exploding, like all at the same. It was such an unbearable feeling, like to the point where I will never even remember what my cervix contractions felt like. It was all my
back. A lot
of
women experience back labor though. I never did. Like I didn't have back labor. My labor, I never felt one thing in my back. It's funny.
It's pretty brutal. Like I couldn't even like the positions that I wanted to be in, I couldn't be in them because I was in so much pain.
Because you wanted all fours, right?
Mm-hmm. I wanted all fours to like elevate my arms on like a ball or pillows or the bed.
Yeah. And you couldn't do that?
And I couldn't do that. I had so much back pain.
So you had to lie on your back during
I lied on my back during my pushing phase.
Okay. And
but they transitioned me after every contraction so my thing is that my water had not broken. Didn't break, and I didn't lose my mucus plug until eventually I lost my mucus plug, and then she broke my water. And that's when I was in my transition phase.
And what does that feel like comparatively to active labor?
I honestly don't even really remember that.
No,
No. I think it was just very painful. And then all of a sudden you have an insane pressure of pushing.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I had pushed for 3 hours.
Yeah, because he was face up.
Because he was face up, and because I had a lip of this of my cervix, like a lip was on both sides. So it was like as much as I was pushing, and when I was pushing, I was on my side and I couldn't push properly. I would be drinking, like they would give me Gatorade or water, and by the time I had to push, the Gatorade and water was like still going down my throat. I would throw it up like every push.
Okay.
So I couldn't I had strength. I couldn't get air to push on my side. And then again, I hated my side. So I was miserable with that. And then they put me in different positions. They put me in I sat on the toilet because the toilet could really help the baby drop. I sat on a birthing stool, which I hated with the rebozos.
Which is hanging, for people that don't know what that is. That's hanging.
It's basically like a really intense, strong scarf that you hold, and you're sitting
ceiling.
on a stool that's like maybe 30 centimeters, if not even, off the ground.
Okay, so you're very, very low and squatted.
Squatted, very low,
and
squatted, and hanging, so that you can have support while you push, and then that helps the baby drop.
Okay.
My situation was the baby was dropping, but was getting, from my understanding, the cervix wasn't completely around his head. So what happens in labor is like when you're in your early labor, your uterus is contracting and pulling upwards.
Okay.
So your cervix, I think,
gets shortened.
Yeah, your cervix is like a long, like, I don't know, 3
Couple
inches.
Yeah.
And then your uterus contracts and pulls up the cervix. It pulls up so that cervix gets around the baby's head. And then when you go into active labor, that's also what's happening. And then you start pushing and your uterus starts contracting downwards to push the baby out. But the cervix is already around its head. My cervix wasn't all around its head. So I was pushing and or contracting, and the cervix was having a harder time allowing the baby to come through. So my midwife was, when I was contracting, was putting her fingers up and moving the cervix on both sides around his head. Okay,
so that's not a pleasant experience either.
No, but it wasn't honestly that bad.
No way.
At that point, you have so much pain that her fingers in there didn't really put that much pressure until it was a while. And then I was like, okay, can you get your fingers out? At this point, I'm like, I need a break.
Yeah.
And then I started pushing. I struggled to push in the beginning a lot because of I was just throwing up a lot. And then eventually I was on my back and I found my pushing phase there. And was really long because of his position. So his face was facing upwards when he came out, which was not.
It's counter. It's like the backbone and everything. It's opposite to the natural flow of the body.
Exactly. Because you have your pelvic bone. So the baby kind of has to flip out of that.
Yeah.
But now you're doing it in a complete opposite direction. So it's very hard to get the baby out.
So you pushed for 3 hours.
I pushed for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about sunscreen, because the best SPF is the one you'll actually wear every day. Most sunscreen is greasy, chalky, or peels underneath makeup, and that's why people skip it. Color Science's Sunforgettable Flex SPF 50 is different. It's mineral, tinted, blendable, and it feels like skincare. It protects like an SPF, but looks like a lightweight foundation. Truly the best of both worlds. This is the sunscreen we recommend to people who say, I hate sunscreen. Once you try this, you'll never skip SPF again. Use code SKINTALKS15 at bskinenvie.ca. That's bskinenvie.ca for 15% off your first order.
My boyfriend likes to describe it as I was in an exorcism. My eyes were rolling in the back of my head. But never once was I I can't do this. I never once thought about an epidural. I was really just, you get into the zone. You're in a trance. You're not on planet Earth anymore. And you're just doing what you can to push and get the baby out. I had a photographer in the room.
Yeah, that's really incredible too.
I know her. She's a good friend of mine. Her name is Mathilde. She's incredible. She had done 2 births before, both in a hospital, never in a
birthing center.
I think one might have been a C-section, if I'm not mistaken. One was a regular vaginal birth. But she was incredible. So if anyone ever wants to hire her, Mathilde Langevin, she's the best.
Yeah.
Was so supportive.
Also as a mom, right? So she understood.
Also as a mom, just super empowered. She would be, if I was pushing and I would go back and be like, I'm struggling. Like, this is so hard. Like, I'm so tired. She'd be like, you're almost there. Just keep pushing. Like, just like an extra voice in the room. And like the back area that you don't even know where it's coming from of like, you can do this was really encouraging. And the photos are going to last a lifetime and just so beautiful.
You've
and
seen
like,
some that are very nice.
I got them all actually. Yeah.
Did you?
And it's just very like, it's beautiful. The photos, like it really is something that's going to last forever. And one day my son will have a picture of his mom holding him like in the first second of him being born. You never know. And he's going to pass it down to his kids or whatever it is, you know?
Yeah. It's a miracle of life, right?
Yeah.
Giving birth and creating such a beautiful experience for yourself, even though you knew going into it that it was going to be an incredibly, painful and life-changing moment for you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, having a child it's an absolutely incredible moment. And you really went all in making it so that you fully were present in it, experiencing it fully.
Yeah, fully. And like,
and
really,
then at the same time celebrating it through memories of, the photography and stuff. It's unusual that one would hear about this, but first of all, I think it's super brave. And the second thing is that it's exceptionally empowering, as in a world that we live in today, like that's not, I mean, originally babies were born without hospitals and doctors and all that kind of stuff, right? But they went through these stages of like, this is the way you have to do it, medically speaking. And now it's kind of changing again to empowering the woman, especially in North America, because
they're very empowering, these women. These midwives are
I noticed
godsends.
Yeah.
Like they go to school in midwifery for 4 years and all they study is birthing women. And like, that's the only thing they do.
Yeah.
And like, as much as I'm not putting doctors down because there's a place for them and I respect it all, but like the doctors have lost the art of birthing babies because
I agree.
They lost that art. Like now everything is a little bit more systematic. If it's taking too long, emergency C-section.
Yeah.
If it's this,
because
like,
it's more factory driven without it sounding crass.
Yeah. Like I don't want to put it down because I understand it. And I know that, there's a place for everything, but like, really, I think that they go to school and obviously are very educated. Like,
but also
don't get me wrong,
empathy
but they study all the things that can go wrong too, right? Like
and how to work through it.
They don't, for 4 years are not studying the like art of birth. Whereas these midwives are, and they only birth 5% of all Quebec births. There's only 200 in Quebec. And like, I had a midwife, Josiane, who I love, but she didn't birth my child. I had Rose who birthed my child and I had never met her. And like, I walked into the room and like, she was like this instantly this woman that I was like, oh my God, like and then there was another woman that came in during my pushing, another midwife, cause they always need extra help. I remember like looking into her eyes and into her soul being like, help me through this. And like the words that they're so empowering. Yeah. They're so strong. Like they are also working so hard to make sure that I'm okay and the baby's okay for 7 hours straight. That's all they're doing.
Yeah.
Is taking care of me and the baby and my birth.
But they're also giving you space.
Yes.
Like they coming in and out also.
In and out.
So giving you space with Joey to go through it.
But always there. And always like, do you want a massage? I'll give you a massage. Do you want this? Do you want this? Like always so like catering and attentive. And it's such a beautiful thing. And like, I just wish they had more recognition.
Well, that's why we're talking about it today in a lot of ways.
Yeah, because they were so... And like, that's what I was saying to Josiane. I'm like, it sucks that like you weren't there to birth my baby, whatever. But like, I could have any woman in this place birth my child, like
because of who they are.
Because of who they are. Yeah. Like you have to be a special kind of person.
You really
do this as your job, and like to be that caring. Like it's all like nurses as well, right? Like you're such caring people, but like it's insane. And like hats off to all of them. And even Joey, like, as much as he's in the medical world and like believes in like is very hospital, all this stuff. He was like, this was the best experience of my life. Like he's like, these women are incredible. Yeah. And it completely switched his point of view about things too, which I really liked. And it's not always just like the hospital route is the only route. Yeah. There's so many options.
Well, if you look back like in a lot of places of Europe, like if you go to, let's say Holland 30 years ago, I don't know what it's like today because I was living in Europe when you were born, and nobody gave birth in a hospital. It was only at home.
Yeah.
Only time you gave birth in a hospital was high risk situations. Everybody else was born at home.
Yeah.
You know, I remember speaking to women in Holland when I went to visit because I had business associates there and a lot of them were mothers. And I asked them like, you know, and they told me about it. So I find that very inspiring. So somehow in North America, we switched the systems and the hospital became the place to have children, right? Which is great, but not always necessary, and also eliminates like the full experience if that's something that you're interested in pursuing. And I guess it's really a personal choice,
Yeah,
right?
like I say to like, also after the moment the baby came out, like also that's something very important to talk about is the birth of the placenta.
Yeah.
Which I don't want to like, that's something that is not spoken about at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew about it, but like, woof, that was a journey for me. Not enjoyable whatsoever. Like you just birth, like we're in like the most insane trance for like 22 hours. And next thing you know, you have to birth the placenta out. Mine wasn't coming out. Their hands are inside of me pulling it out. Like that was a disaster for me. I was so overstimulated. But that also is super important. So that's something to talk about. Like when you're giving birth, if you're pregnant, like just remember you have to give birth to a placenta after. Don't forget that.
And sometimes it's not always obvious. Mine came out right away, but not every. It's not like you can just yank it out.
And I wasn't contracting to pull it out. Like they had to go in and very slowly pull it out. They were not able to, because then you can have pieces of the placenta stuck inside of you, which I did have a membrane that came out of me like 5 days after birth, which is also very dangerous.
And it caused you to have a fever.
I had fever. I was not feeling well. I was sick. I got a cough. I had all these things. And then I went to the bathroom and I was like, oh.
Your body's trying to. So, you know, when we talk about, a lot of times people have spoken about toxic shock syndrome, which is from tampons and leaving them in too long. It's similar, right? Yeah. In a way.
Yeah. So
you have something inside of you that
when it came out, I took a picture of it because I was like, that's not a blood clot. Like that's crazy. Whatever that is. I called my partner. I came upstairs. I'm like, what is this? And he's like, oh, that's wild. And we sent a picture to my midwife and she said, it looks good. So it wasn't like in there for too long. It wasn't caught. Like it wasn't getting bad.
Yeah. But could have.
Like getting rotten inside of me, which could have been really dangerous. It's called retained placenta. Mine was still very much like vibrant and looked like a healthy placenta that came out of me. So that was okay. The next day I was feeling better. I still had a little bit of a high temperature, but no more of a fever. And then after that I was fine, but I had fevers and I thought it was because I was getting mastitis.
And they thought maybe that could be why too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was really swollen and had a lot of like hard
which is
bumps,
normal.
Which is normal.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's also something, that was a journey as well. And I remember after the baby like landed on me and like, it was like the blanket came on, the hat came on, all these things. And my partner looks at me, he's like, would you do it again? I'm like, bro, it's been 5 minutes. And I'm like, yeah, I would do it again. And I know that women hate when they say this. I know that you don't like it too. Like when you forget about the pain, like I genuinely forgot about the pain as soon as the baby came out.
Yeah.
Like I really did. Like I forgot I forgot how it felt like. Except for my back labor. That is going to be in my memory for a long time. But I remember the intensity of it. I forget how it feels like. And I was like, yeah, I would do this again.
Mm-hmm. So if you were to describe what it feels like, because a lot of people have had epidurals, what would you say it felt like?
It's so hard to explain because it's just like this very deep inside of you feeling that feels like you're like, muscles are working. Like, it's like you
Charlie horse.
Like, yes, but yeah, because you're so tight, like your muscles contracting, your uterus is a muscle. It's the largest muscle in the female body and the strongest one. Sorry, not the largest, the strongest muscle. So like the contraction of it is so strong. So you have your stomach becomes really hard. Like you're kind of just like so rigid and it's like this insane pain. It's nothing like a period cramp.
Yeah.
And I get really bad period cramps.
Yeah.
Like I do. And I now know why. It's because of my uterus. That's what the doctor told me. But no, this is nothing like a period cramp. You know when something's different. It's like a very insane feeling. And it's true that it, in a way, it comes in waves. Mine scaled from 0 to 100 and then went down slowly. Like I didn't have an increase of like 0 to like slowly the wave going up and then down. I just had like straight up and then it was going down.
And you knew the second it started to go down, you could feel it like...
I could feel it's like subsiding. I was like, oh, I can start to breathe again. Like I can, okay. I'm like, okay, it's going away. It's going away. Like I could talk. I could say that it's going away. But the moment that it appeared, I was like
zipped quiet. What about breathing?
Breathing, I asked my midwife if there was breathing techniques and she just said, basically, you just need to breathe, like in and out.
Did you, but
she gave me no techniques. She just said,
so when you were in a labor cramp, like when you were in that contraction, were they like guiding you through breath?
Yes.
Because it's very important to breathe.
My exhales were more grunts. During active labor and transition and pushing, I was sometimes breathing out, but most of it was grunting. And what's interesting about midwives when they talk about like they can hear you down the hallway and they'll know what stage of labor you're in based off of what you sound like. So in the beginning of labor, your sounds are very high pitch. Like you're like that's high pitch.
Yeah.
And then as you're going through your active labor into transition into pushing, you're grunting. Like it's like an insane deep sound that's like animalistic.
Wow.
And it's like this deep, because it's actually, because you heard.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Which was also an insane experience for me, honestly. Yeah.
It's, they say that the vibrational sounds of this grunting is like, it's good for your body. It helps your body like recover like these, it's like, and like
creates a vibration.
Yeah. So it's actually really good when you grunt like that.
Well, vibration is very good for the body. And you know, when you think about it, when you have something where you go into like a state of shock or pain, the after is always shaking.
I was shaking too.
So the shaking is the body's way to release, like an animal shakes after being scared, right?
I was shaking after every pushing contraction, like shivering.
Yeah.
And I had a birthing comb too. That saved my life.
What's that?
It's like this hard wooden comb.
Oh yeah.
That I almost think I put through my knuckles at one point. I had marks for days after, and I was holding on to this for my life. Mm-hmm. And if I was like in a moment where I was like on the rebozo, like pulling on these, like this scarf, and then I would transition. I'm like, where's my comb? I'm like, somebody find my comb.
Cause it's like the counterbalance of pain, right?
Yeah. That was like, it's like you in the moment, you don't really feel it, but it is taking pain somewhere else in your body. So it's slightly removing it from where you're feeling it.
Well, I know my mom had like, this is a completely different situation, but she did tell me this. She had when she was at Place des Arts once during a show, she had a twist in intestine, which is supposed to be,
I remember that.
It's supposed to be like as bad as the most intense times of childbirth, like the cramps and stuff like that. But what the ambulance driver did was he grabbed her collarbone when she was like delirious. And he said, she said he squeezed it so hard that it diverted pain away from what was going on into her body, into her collarbone, to help her to regain her consciousness almost. So regain awareness of what was actually going on.
And my cousin, Jessica, gave birth in a birthing center as well, 25 hours of labor.
Yeah.
And she had her husband take a fork to her arm and scratch her arm with a fork, which is another technique.
Which is very interesting.
I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Kinky.
Yeah. No, but did she was she bleeding afterwards?
No, she was red, but she said it helped.
Yeah,
so
because
she
it takes
the comb. He had to scratch her with a fork.
So interesting. We're so like, I love the fact that people are having these experiences and conversations for the different options, like bringing awareness around it. And you do get through it. Yeah.
And there's like, my Instagram was flooded with women like giving affirmations of like going through like, cause I was very much in a unmedicated Instagram feed. And it's like, you just have to, one of these posts that I resonated with me is that you're not the first and the last woman to do this.
Yeah.
And while you're giving birth, like 350,000 other women are giving birth. So you're not alone. So just remember that, like when you're going through it, like have your affirmations, like tell yourself you can do this. Your contractions are not as strong as you are. Like there's certain things that you can repeat to yourself or have your
it's mantras in a way, right?
Speak to you being like, you're strong, you can do this, you got this, you're not, you're stronger than your contractions are not defined by you. Like there's certain things that you can always say to people. But one thing for me was like, I got this, like I can do this, I'm not alone.
So you always told yourself that.
Yeah, like in my head I did, but I remember there's some points that my partner was like, you would just like randomly start talking to yourself.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did he
like,
tell you what you were saying?
In between my contractions, yeah, like, you can do this, Tash. It's not like, not forever. You can do this. Like, you're stronger than this. It's like when I would take breaks in between my pushing. Yeah.
Okay.
When my eyes were rolling in the back of my head.
Well, you said also you were delirious at one point and you had
I saw, what do you call that?
Bouncing balls or something? You had what do you call that? When you're so like you had when somebody's high on drugs, hallucinated.
Yeah. I hallucinated.
Yeah.
So crazy. I watched the movie Marty Supreme with Timothy Chalamet.
Okay.
And it's about ping pong. And then there was these orange ping pongs in there. And I saw an orange ping pong bouncing in the labor room and I hallucinated. And I was like, oh shit, like I'm really tired and I'm going through something. Like I remember seeing the ball and being like, what the heck is that doing here? And I'd be like, yeah. So that, yeah, you definitely go through some crazy things. It was definitely the hardest, most painful day of my life. But like, it lasted 22 hours. I'm 2 weeks postpartum. Like I couldn't
You're
be
thriving.
happy. Yeah. So like for me, I'm just.
And you're lucky also because a lot of people after having a child go through postpartum depression. I think you got a little weepy and were emotionally charged for a while.
But baby blues, but
but it was out of joy. You said it wasn't necessarily feeling bad, right? You said that you had.
No, I remember like looking at him and feeling sad that he was never going to be the small again. But a lot like that in the beginning, I like being like, oh my God, he's like, this is like the only time that I get with him. This like those like scared of the future sort of feelings. But no, most of it was like so much like so proud and so happy and so overwhelmed. And I definitely contribute a lot of my postpartum success to my partner.
Yeah.
And I also, one of the biggest things is that I gave birth on January 5th at 12:52 a.m. And I went home at 6 p.m. that day.
Yeah.
And I think that I could have stayed. I could have stayed overnight if I wanted to. But I was like, no, let's go home. And I think that being able to go home after birth and not being in a place that's foreign with loud beeping noises, with bright lights, with doctors coming and probing you and touching you and all this stuff, and like really being only with your baby, I think that is the most healing journey. Because like as much as it's like you have to stay at a hospital, sometimes it is what it is. Like if you have a C-section, especially, like
you can complications.
But I really think that being in my own bed and healing in my bed with like my partner and the baby on me and like him feeding me my things and just being in such a calm state.
Well, you really
healed me so much faster.
You planned that. Like you planned.
I was like, get me out of here. It was like 4 p.m. And I had to wait for the aide Natal to come and like do all the documents. And then she's like, you should probably eat before you leave. Like, just no rush. You can stay. And I was like, okay, I'll eat.
And they had proper food there too.
They have home cooked meals. Yeah. And then
I remember Joey looking at a menu.
Yeah. They have a whole menu.
That's amazing.
You can choose whatever you want, whenever you want. The aide Natals will come
Like
in.
What kind of foods did they have?
Like breakfast. They had egg sandwiches. They had
like somebody's on the front. Well, I went in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And it's like a proper kitchen. It's
yeah,
like not
it's
not an industrial kitchen. It's a kitchen that you would have in a house.
Yeah. Some of it's like catered. Like I know they deal with a caterer.
Okay.
But they had like chicken pot pie and like a tourtière and all these things. And they can get a bagel. You can get toast. You can get like whatever you wanted. Yogurt, cereal, like all these things.
Okay.
Lasagna.
And so I wanted to ask something else. So when you give birth in a hospital in Canada, you give birth and it's covered by your insurance. Is the birthing center covered also by the same insurances?
Yeah.
So it's totally
free.
It's free. Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. It's just the male the partner has to pay $12 for a meal. That's the only thing you're paying for.
You can have the most incredible experience.
Yeah.
I mean, would you recommend it to somebody? What would you tell somebody that would ask you, hey, Tash, I want to do a natural childbirth? What would you say? My
friend's pregnant. I told her, like, you should totally do a natural childbirth way before I gave birth naturally. I wouldn't recommend it for her. Like, I know, like, I would never recommend it to somebody if they didn't come to me saying, I want to do this. Because I don't want them, like, raging at me afterwards. Because, like, you really want to, you have to want to do this. This is not something that somebody can tell you can do.
You don't just decide one day, like, I think I'll go natural.
Yeah, like that's something that you really want to do. And I will support and give you all the tips and all of that. And there's a woman that was there that was having her first appointment. She's like, what was it like? And I was like, I'm going to be honest. It was like brutal. It's exhausting. It's painful. Like, this is not easy. It's called labor for a reason, but it was the best experience of my life. And I would never trade it for anything else.
Okay.
But she's there interested in wanting to do it. but I would not say to my newly pregnant friend, like, you should go do this.
No.
No. If she's like not interested, because then she's going to come rage me after and kill me because it's not something she wanted to do. And she just went through the worst experience of her life.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
So you have to be somebody who wants to, and you have to be also pain tolerance is something that you have to be able to.
Yes.
For other things in your life. And you know, I think people generally know if they have a tolerance or no tolerance for pain, just by, you know, other things that happen naturally in life.
As much as it's a very painful physical thing, like mentally you have to be very strong.
So for what reasons do you have to be strong mentally?
To not give up and to keep going and to keep pushing and to like just
to work through the pain.
Work through it. Like, yeah, it's painful. Like I have a very high tolerance, but it was painful as hell. Like I was like, this is horrible.
Okay.
But like you
mostly
have to have
you're
that
back.
mental stability to keep going.
Yeah. Well, from somebody who was like an observer on the other side of like, I was not in the room with you but I was there and you were the only person in the birthing center that night. And obviously I could hear everything.
Yeah.
But I have to say like from the moment I walked into the birthing center, I felt there was an incredible calmness. And I remember walking in like a bit frazzled. I was like, okay, like I didn't know what to expect. Right. So, and I can't remember, there was a younger girl that came down stairs to let me in. And my first question was like, how far along is she dilated? Cause that would give me like a barometer.
Rose, yeah.
She was the younger one.
Yeah.
And she said to me, well, that's confidential information. So regardless of the fact that I'm the mother,
yeah, she does not.
They don't divulge, which I was like, oh, okay. And I go, oh, I know. I'm like, I'm not trying to invade on my daughter's privacy because obviously I wasn't invited to, but I didn't think it was such a big deal to ask that, but they're very respectful of boundaries. And I remember that
they will not touch you if they don't ask, can I touch you?
It's very,
regardless of the situation. Can I touch you? I'm like, I'm like, what the hell? Touch me.
So she said, she walked me in and I was like, she goes, this is the waiting area. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, well, how long is this going to take? I gave birth to you very fast. So I was like, could it be an hour, 2 hours, or I might be here all night. So I had brought my laptop. I had brought books and stuff like that. So I said, well, I'm just going to work because I'm not going to be able to work tomorrow. It's Monday. But I could hear you going through like the different stages of labor. And I remember in the beginning, my heartbeat was like, I'm like, okay, like I was breaking out into like a full cold sweat. My heart was racing. I checked my aura and you can see like my body went into stress at that time. I think probably around 10 o'clock at night. And then I found myself sitting at the bottom of the stairs because I was like listening, but working at the same time. But the midwives, my point is that the midwives, the aide natal and one of them,
so
Rose.
Midwives, they birth you, aide natals, they come in at the end.
At the end, but she was going, and I guess they were communicating and they were bringing you Gatorade and doing different things and stuff. And the way she treated me as the mother was, she came downstairs multiple times just to see how I was.
Yeah.
And just to tell me that you were okay.
Yeah.
And just to tell me that Joey was the most incredible partner and so supportive and she's in good hands and she's progressing. And then she came down at one point and she's like, okay, it's going to be soon. And I'm like, okay, it's going to be soon. And I was like, it was just such an incredible experience as a mother, as your mother, to be able to be a part of that because when you don't see, you hear. And the hearing is almost more powerful than the views because you understand things through your ears very differently than through your eyes, right? I can hardly explain it. But yeah, I knew the time that that Maximilian was born. I knew it because I heard the Joey, and I heard you and everything got quiet afterwards, like, oh, the baby's here. But Joey's sounds when he met his son, which we didn't know at the time, I didn't know that he was a boy, was probably I'll never forget it. Yeah. Because he was like, baby, baby. Like he was so joyous. Yeah. And you could hear it. And you too, like you could just hear it.
The tension in the air was kind of gone.
It was gone. And it was so palpable from the bottom of the stairs sitting there and listening. Like it was insanely special. Yeah. And then obviously I was like, okay, the baby's born. I was communicating with your dad. I'm like, I think the baby's here. Like, cause I didn't hear anything anymore. And then Joey sent a text through to his mom and me of like so happy the baby's here.
Not
Everybody's
even
doing
disclosing
great.
if it was
and
a
we're
boy or a
like,
girl.
but is it a boy or a girl? And he's like, oh my God, you know?
But when the baby landed on me, like I was like, oh my God. And then they put the blanket on top and then I looked and I like lifted the leg up and I was like, oh my God, it's a boy. And he didn't even register. Like he like was just like shocked. Also because the pushing was 3 hours and there was progress, but there was no, like I was still going to be pushing for a while. Then I had one push and the baby actually slingshotted out of me apparently. And like, it was like Joey was supposed to catch the baby. So like Rose would have told Joey to come around to be like, okay, you can pull the baby out, but it wasn't like it flew out.
Yeah,
I just
know,
had one
that.
push where it just flew out. And so nobody was prepared for it. So he was just shocked when it happened. And when I told him it was a boy, he was like, so shocked. Then I was like, baby, it's a boy. And he's like, oh my God. Like it took him time to realize.
Well, it's an incredible experience, not just for the mother, but also for a partner, right?
Yeah.
The person who's watching you, whoever that is in a birthing process, is as affected by the birth in a different way.
Yeah, no,
That's amazing.
When we got home that night, he had the worst migraine of his life. He was so unwell, like was exhausted and so unwell.
But
I think from emotionally going through something and witnessing me go through something. Like at one point he was frustrated at himself because he's like, why didn't I push her to get an epidural? Why did I not push her for this? Because he was seeing me go through it. So I think for him emotionally it was like a lot. Plus he supported for so long. Like he was really involved in the birth.
I know. I could hear him. He was very supportive.
So for him, he really struggled. I think he slept 12 hours that night.
Yeah.
He's been sleeping fine ever since. No, I'm just kidding. But also what's really nice about the birthing center is that like because the bed, like we had the little bassinet, put the baby in the bassinet and we both fell asleep for like 3-4 hours. Which was really nice in the bed together, which was such a nice moment for the two of us.
Yeah,
like,
very special.
He wasn't on a cot somewhere in the corner and I wasn't alone in bed. Like we were cozy
together.
And the baby was next to us in this bassinet. Like we were like, oh, so what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
It was a beautiful journey.
So it was, and I did want to say one thing, like when Mathilde came downstairs, which was the photographer that we spoke about earlier, she came down and she just looked at me and she congratulated me. Obviously she was emotional. I was emotional. I'm like, how is she? Because she did amazing and was telling me a little bit about it. And she says, you can go up. Tash wants you to go up. So I go up the stairs into the room and this young Rose, I think her name was, sees me and she like stops me. She's like, and then she says, wait. Yeah. And I'm like, I said, no, and Mathilde said I could come up and she came into the room to ask permission for me to come in. So they're I just found them very, also you had like, they put the baby on top of you for a good hour, 90 minutes. So if you need stitches or if you need anything post birth, they don't do anything before like an hour and a half to 2 hours after birth. So they really let you bond with the baby. And I witnessed that.
They leave the room.
They completely leave the room. When I came in, there was nobody there but you and Joey and the baby. And I sat down with you and you needed to have a little bit of reparations, but very minor, right?
Yeah.
But that process was for me incredible because I came from, like I gave birth to you in Germany, but I chose the most progressively natural hospital because I also wanted a natural childbirth at the time, blah, blah, blah. But everything is done was very like mechanical and no breaks in between, right? But they took their time. They made it comfortable for you. They took like, even though it was very, very minor, it took a long time for them to do it. And they were both looking and saying, okay, because it's complicated down there, especially after you give birth, there's a lot of swelling and different things going on down there. But they took their time and it was like they were repairing things so they went back to the absolute original state, not a quick job.
Yeah, it was very, they're very, just, I don't know, like they just do it right.
They just are very respectful of the woman and they make sure that they do it absolutely. There's no rushing for anything.
What's nice after is like you have that time with your baby and you're like settling and then they come and do the stitches. Like,
and then you take a bath.
And then while you clean yourself and take a bath and they like help you wash yourself and whatever it is, the aide natal, which is the woman who comes in later, like strips the bed, cleans up the place, makes sure that there's no signs of blood or birth or anything anywhere. So that by the time I'm out of the shower, I can lie down and be in complete new sheets. And then it's like nothing had ever happened. So it's a process. They do it, and it's very quiet
and very calm.
Very calm. So like I'm just in the bath, like
I was
washing
there with
away
you,
my and they're just switching everything around, and everything's getting cleaned. And then by the time like I'm out of the bath, Joey took a quick bath. We went to bed.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
I know. I was very, very impressed and pleasantly surprised at the whole like process of, and how respectful they are and how calm everything is. It was super calm.
Yeah.
It really was amazing. No panic, no bright lights, no noise, no beep, beep, beeps.
Yeah. And the people ask me, would you do it at home? I'm like, I could do it at home, but like, honestly, it was such a homey experience there that I would just go there again. Like,
so if you ever have another child, which I know it's in your plans to possibly do that, if everything works out, would you go back and do it in the birthing center again? So you would go and do a natural childbirth 100%. Again. Okay.
I know what to expect, and like what could be worse, like 23 hours. Like I've already done 22.
Probably second births are easier,
right?
They
kept saying that. They said that my birth wasn't long. It wasn't long and it wasn't short. It was like the average, which is like usually 7 to 8 hours. But they said it's my first child, so it's normal that it's taking longer. And they said with the second one, it'll be a lot faster. But I'm expecting like a long birth again, just because that's how
mentally
my brain
prepare
works.
Yourself, right?
But I would definitely do it again. I would birth at that place every single time, regardless. I don't care. Like it's such a homey place.
Yeah. So the whole experience for you of becoming a mom has been very, very positive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I'm very grateful.
Yeah. Not everybody has that experience. Some people have to have cesareans and they want to tap.
Yeah. And like also the support at home and also with you guys, like it's just, I couldn't do it without Joey. He's been like the best ever.
I know. Watching him also when I went to the house afterwards and cooking every meal and bringing it upstairs, making sure that you're eating water. And he's been really amazing.
Yeah. I never had to ask for anything. Just was
And he
done.
did all the laundry, took care of the cats.
Yeah.
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 But you had planned it that way.
Yeah.
So you kind of knew, and he knew what to.
The expectation for both of us. Yeah. Like we knew what our roles were going to be.
What would you say would be the hardest part of becoming a mom for you was?
I don't know if I've experienced anything hard yet.
Is there any like emotional?
I mean,
responsibilities.
No, I feel like the hardest part for me was like, I think that I struggled in the beginning when I wasn't feeling well, like I really struggled to sleep. Even when the baby was sleeping in the middle of the night, I was wide awake and I couldn't sleep. And I think my hormones I think I was so wired and so much adrenaline and like all this stuff that I couldn't even like relax.
What about the sweating and stuff like that?
The sweating, that's the worst thing.
Are you still having that?
No.
Not the same way.
I like really wish that away. Postpartum sweats I just personally, like also I was feverish. So I was taking an Advil and then my fever would break. So I was like drenching my sheets. It's great because my water has gone down in my body, but like I hated that the most. That was so like waking up with a wet bed for me is like borderline horrible.
Yeah.
Like I hate that. So I was sleeping in my bathrobe, which is a towel.
Just so that you didn't wake up soaking.
Yeah.
But you know, I think in the last couple of weeks of pregnancy, every woman or most women really swell up. They retain water.
Yeah, I retained a lot of water. My dad said that he can put a pin to my face and I would pop.
Yeah, you can see that you've lost the water.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I wasn't going to say anything to you like that because I had the same thing, but like you.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Like my toes are so skinny. I'm like, I forgot I had such skinny toes.
And your fingers, you can fit your rings back on again and stuff. Like you felt swollen all the time, right?
Actually, I felt like I had arthritis because it hurt to bend my fingers so much.
Yeah.
Now I'm okay.
So the good news is that like the body has a natural way to release all of that stuff. What about breastfeeding?
Breastfeeding has been great. I'm very lucky. I was patient, I guess, and I got through it, the painful parts of it. And no, everything's great. Breastfeeding, he's growing perfectly. I love it.
Well, very interesting. Very interesting.
It's been a great journey. Yeah, I know that there's a lot to come, and I know that it's going to get harder before it gets easier, but I'm just grateful to be in this. Like, my mindset is like, this is just a moment in time. Nothing lasts forever. Just have to embrace the no sleep. It is what it is. Like, I wanted this. What do I expect?
Yeah.
So I'm loving it. Even though I'm exhausted, I'm still loving it.
Yeah.
Talk to me in a couple months when he's really not sleeping. But maybe my mindset
Well, you're going to go
change.
through different stages of
exhaustion.
But I mean, it seems that to me, like watching you come by it very naturally. So, and he's a beautiful little boy.
Yeah, he's sleeping
Yeah,
finally.
he's like literally my whole heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So fun. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
And, I guess if anybody who's listening to this wants to have, wants to get in touch with you or have questions with you, they can definitely reach out, DM you somehow through our Instagram page. And, you know.
I'm happy to answer any questions and share my knowledge of this one birth that I did.
Yeah. Your experience, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right.
Well, we'll see you next week. Thank you for listening to Skin Talks.
If this episode inspired you, taught you something new, or just made you feel seen, please share with someone you love. And if you believe in thoughtful and empowering conversations that help you make better choices for yourself around your beauty and wellness, please rate and review the show. It helps us to grow our community, and we deeply appreciate it. Because this isn't just about skin.
It's about claiming your beauty, feeling strong, informed, and at home in yourself.
See you next week.